Hi, hello, this is Kazdarisk, and welcome back to Koppai Podcast, episode 50! We've made it! I am one of your hosts, Kazdarisk, joined alongside Mr. Koppai himself, Zach Risk.
X gon' give it to you! All aboard, the train's here!
As always, we've got another good one for you today, folks. It's our best episode yet. The Nintendo Switch is here. We've been playing it all weekend, probably too much. We've been playing way too much of that Zelda. We've been playing way too much of that 1-2 Switch, Snipperclips. We dabbled a little bit in Fast Remix and Super Bomberman R, and we have all sorts of thoughts and impressions to share with you today. And so we're going to be talking about it. We're going to be celebrating episode 50 of Koppai Podcast with the NX. We have the NX here. I'm holding it in my hands with my red Joy-Cons. It has air bubbles all over it because of the screen. We got Sony Gamer 201 in the chat, which I think is kind of funny that our celebration episode of the Nintendo Switch, our first person in the chat is Sony Gamer 201 with their Kratos profile. But no, we're going to be celebrating the Switch. No, you stay and click the subscribe button and the like button down below. But no, we're going to be talking all about the Switch. We've been playing a ton of it. We have more thoughts and impressions than anyone has ever had the past month because we've just been playing it an obnoxious amount. And so we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about anything, really, that has been happening, as well as our launch stories, my experience at Best Buy, Zach's experience at Walmart, my continued strife with Amazon and how they've slowly lost my business when it comes to the video game market. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Amazon has lost my business altogether. It's like, that's like, trying to take down, I don't even know. Like, I don't know. It's just, you can't fight Amazon. They're going to win. But, yeah, you can't take on Zuckerberg. But no, we are an all Nintendo podcast that posts each and every week on youtube.com/Koppai Gaming, as well as SoundCloud and iTunes, and now also on Google Play Music, Stitcher Radio, and other various podcast services. If you're watching on YouTube, we updated the little bottom banner there where you can see everything we're at as far as social media and podcast services go. Each week we discuss the games we're playing, the latest Nintendo news, as well as a topic of the show. And today's topic of the show is going to take up the entirety of our podcast episode today. It's all about the Nintendo Switch, our time with it, the games we've been playing, what we think of the experience overall. We'll go back to our normal format of news, segments, etc. On this upcoming Friday. But any bit of news regarding the Nintendo Switch will be discussed in the topic of the show today. And so if you enjoy all of this, if you're watching on YouTube, iTunes, whatever, be sure to leave us a review on iTunes. And if you're watching, be sure to subscribe and like the video. And so normally we go into what we're playing, and normally we go and we talk about that, what we've been experiencing this past week, what we plan to be doing this upcoming week to kind of get, into the groove of the show. But we don't need to do that this week because we've just been playing the Switch. And so we can skip all of that. And to start off Koppai Podcast episode 50, we're going to be talking about the actual hardware and system software of the Nintendo Switch. We hadn't had a chance to play with it at any preview event, and so this past week has been freaking incredible. We've been blown away by having this Switch. Like, I almost teared up when I first unboxed it. I'm like, I told my wife, I'm like, I've been looking at this in so many pictures and videos, and it's finally in my house. It's in my hands. It's like, it's surreal. I've seen the mock-ups and the drawings of this thing, and it's in my hands now. Like, it's a real thing. Yeah. And so it's been just a crazy ride of a weekend, like, to just be sitting sometimes and be like, I'm playing the Switch right now. Like, that's just insane.
Yeah.
And so we'll be talking about that. I don't know if I have actual footage in here of, like, the Switch overview, so we'll have to figure out what we're going to do as far as B-roll goes. Maybe we can do first look at the NX here. But yeah, so we'll talk about our initial launch night and day stories, and then dive into the actual components. And so launch night, Zach.
Yes.
It's Thursday. It's Switchmas Eve.
Yeah.
And we are, we don't know what to do with ourselves. We're freaking out.
Yeah.
I just realized I'm playing on YouTube. I need to stop that. We're freaking out, and we're counting down the hours, and you and I both, for the longest time, we're going to be picking up our Switches on March 3rd during the day. I was going to be getting mine via Amazon. You were going to be getting yours at Best Buy out of town, so you were going to have to make a drive. When Best Buy opened, they weren't doing a midnight release, and so we had it all planned out.
Yep.
And Thursday night starts coming around, and you and I both kind of drastically change our plans. We're like, all right, I decide I am gonna be going to the launch event at Best Buy. Maybe see if I can grab an extra Switch. I'm gonna return my others via Amazon. You decide, wait, if you're gonna be maybe going and getting an extra one, maybe I can go to Walmart and I can find an extra one. And so we're both kind of like, we could actually be playing the Switches tonight. We're freaking out, and we're trying to call around and see what's going on. And you can share your side of the story, but I go to Best Buy, and they have a line that's, people in the parking lot. It's all super long. They have 50 people waiting. It's super cold outside, and they say you can't come in until 11:15. And I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. And so I go in, and they don't have enough tickets to get my Switch, and so I actually had to wait till the next day. But I go in, line is super hype, and I have to say it was pretty cool to just be like surrounded by people that were just like, it's here. Like, you have every different kind of person. You have little kids that are like, I've been waiting for this Switch for 6 weeks, and I'm so excited. And I'm like, you have no idea, summer child, like what we've been through.
Yeah.
And you have other people that are like, it's the NX, like I can't believe it. You have other people that are like, I'm gonna go sell this on eBay for $600 right after I leave here, and it's like, I'm gonna murder you. But you have all varying different types of people. But it's cool. I walked in, and there's just hardware and accessories and games and the amiibo all over the place. I was super stressed out that they didn't give me all of my amiibo, and then they locked us in the store until midnight, saying you guys can't leave by Nintendo's orders. You can't have the Switch out and about before it's March 3rd. And we thought that was the stupidest thing. Some people were like, "What would happen if we started just walking out?" But they trapped us there. Yeah. And one guy, we got finally retweeted by Bill Trinan. One guy busted out his Switch right there in the store and started playing. And I took a picture of him and tweeted it at Bill Trinan, who retweeted it. And it was so crazy, though, because this is one of the only consoles where you can do that. I mean, I guess handhelds, but it's who can just bust out their PlayStation in the middle of a launch event and start,
exactly.
Playing. And yeah, he was playing through Zelda, and I'm like, I don't know about you, but I want to make sure my first experience of Zelda is awesome. I don't know why you're just playing it in the middle of the store.
Yeah.
But no, so I did that, and then I'm like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go home, and I unboxed my Pro Controller, all my amiibo, just kind of was enjoying Switchmas Eve. And then the next day, I wake up bright and early in the morning, and I'm like, here we go, it's 8 a.m. Switch will be arriving any moment. And I go on UPS, and it's like, hey, we have a new thing where you can find out when your launch window or when your delivery window is based on your location. We have our routes all planned out now. You can get a pretty good estimate of where when you're going to get delivered to. And it's it'll actually probably be about 1:15 to 5:15. I'm like, dang it. I woke up all early, but I'm like, okay, this is a good time. I'll do some dishes. I'll get some homework done so I don't have to worry about it at all. I took one of my exams online, got all good to go. 1:15 rolls around. I'm like, okay, maybe I should make some lunch. Any moment now, it's going to be showing up at my door. And 2:15 rolls around. I still haven't had food. I'm pacing around the house. Meanwhile, are just picking up Zelda, and you got yours the night before, and I'm kind of freaking out. I hope mine gets delivered today. People are posting online that Amazon missed a couple shipments. They're going to get delayed till Monday. I'm puking all over the house. I'm mopping up the puke. I'm freaking out. I'm like, no. 3:15 rolls around, 4 o'clock. My wife gets home from work, and she's like, have you done anything today? And I'm pacing around the house, biting my nails, where's my Switch? 5 o'clock rolls around, and her and I are playing a board game to pass the time, and just distract myself. And I get my message that's hey, your Switch was delivered 20 minutes ago to your apartment rental offices.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And so I literally sprint down the road and go, and they have my Switches there because I ordered 2 of them. And I bring them back and unbox it, and just that's it. Rest is history. Posted a bunch of pictures, tweeted it out, and played the rest of the night. But it was just what a bumpy, or not bumpy, but just the last day was filled with so much tension. I feel sorry for anyone out there that maybe missed out on launch day. I know some people got gypped and they had to wait till Monday, and some people just didn't get theirs all together. They couldn't afford it at the time, whatever the case may be. And so you had a different situation where you went to Walmart and you had some psycho people in your line.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly why I went I made sure I didn't go with Amazon for the Switch because I knew for sure that was going to happen to me. Where because I usually get average delivery is after 5 or around 5, and I just knew there's no
Hmm.
way I'm waiting until that time to play the Switch on launch day. I'm willing to drive an hour out of my way to go
Yeah,
to
I'll
Best
I'll do
Buy,
that next time for sure. Well, Best
and
Buy,
even that
shout out real quick to Best Buy. Best Buy's slowly become not only like my number one place
they
simply
were
because of like the price matching and the deals, but they're just so good with their service and making sure you get everything you need and
they were smooth.
like
They were very
yeah.
smooth because I went there and um they had everything bundled together for me. It was like they when I went there, they're like, "What's your name?" And I was like, "Zach Risk," and they were like, "Okay, oh, your stuff's right here." And it was all like had a little one of those ties that made everything together. So all my amiibo were stacked together with my Switch and I think a couple games that I got and everything. And so I was like, oh, I
Hmm.
need to cancel the Switch because I picked one up at Walmart last night and it was super smooth and easy to be like, oh, okay, no problem. Just give me your card and just, all right, that was canceled. And I was like, oh, thank God, because I'd read just a couple of those fear reports that you just kind of get in your head before a launch. But yeah, I went to I don't know. I was really thinking that I was going to get my Switch that morning when I went and picked it up with the Zelda special edition, but I talked to you and was like, what should I do? Do you think I should at least go check it out? And you're like, I don't know why
Oh
you
yeah.
wouldn't. And so I was
Yeah, I mean,
like,
especially in Kearney, like for me, it's
yeah,
a little bit of a journey in Minneapolis. Like back in Nebraska, little small town Nebraska, like it's like
yeah,
you get in your car and you drive down the street and be like, you guys got a switch here? Like
yeah,
it's like I would no doubt.
yeah. Well, I was even thinking the whole like going to Best Buy in Grand Island. It was like really not a huge like I didn't need to. I could have pre-ordered it here in town easily at GameStop or something and had that all taken care of where I didn't need to do this whole ridiculous thing. Except I'm not sure I might not have been able to find the special edition anywhere else because
Yeah.
of that whole situation. But anyway, I go up to Walmart at around midnight because I was thinking, it was like I was trying to remain chill and think there's it's not a big deal if I don't get one or not because they have the
Yeah.
backup at Best Buy, and so I go up and not thinking like I need to be there anytime soon because hopefully it's like the people that had their pre-orders taken care of, they'll probably already be gone, and it'll just be like whatever's left over, just check it out and get
Hmm.
there and there's still like a really long line of like probably 40, 50 people maybe max, all waiting around, probably all I didn't see anyone that was really super young or anything. It was mostly like kind of maybe like older high school or like early college aged kids, and then like some more adults range people, and like a
Yeah.
couple like really older adults that were just kind of waiting silently in line. And yeah, I got between two people that were really kind of obnoxious and just
Eccentric.
yeah. And so and well, I just it was not even that really necessarily there. I mean, they were kind of fine and they were just excited and stuff. It's just that I'm not really one to I kind of just am I think it's just like the whole I don't like to go into lines. I don't like to be in like social environments too much. I'd rather just kind of stay at home. And so like being around like eccentric people that I don't know and they're just kind of acting strange. It's not a comfortable environment for me. So I was just like this is exactly why I wanted to pre-order and not have to go through all this.
Well, that's why I
But
did the Amazon because I'm like, I just want it delivered to my house. And little did I know it was just
yeah,
the most
exactly. Well,
excruciating process. And like the idea of having someone else holding onto my Switch and like driving it to me. Like someone posted a video earlier in the day where it was like some Korean semi truck falling over. I'm like, that's my Switch. Like,
yeah.
no.
Well, it ended up
But
being such a long wait too in line. It was like
yeah.
about an almost an hour long wait that I
How many
was
people were in line? Did you say?
Well, that's the problem. Is like I was gonna give another prop to Best Buy because they were so fast, and again with them it was like they didn't do the midnight launch, so it may have been a different story if that whole situation would have gone on. But it seems like even in your situation, it just seems in general most places do it this way. I remember that GameStop, the
You get a
Grand
little
Theft
ticket.
Auto, yeah, everybody gets that taken care of first, and if they have extras, like even that, like let's kind of try to speed up for efficiency's sake. They were going so ridiculously slow that it was just like, what is going on? And I know a few people were just kind of like, it seemed, I don't know, maybe it was because it was late and they were tired. They was like a little not figuring out how to do the whole like chip readers and stuff. But anyway, I don't know. They just wasn't efficient, and they also weren't, I felt, relaying enough until it was like really to the end of the line that they had enough for everybody. I was just kind of like left up in the air, a little anxious just because of the nature of the situation. It was like, oh, I'm waiting. Once it gets to be like 40 minutes of waiting, I'm like, all right, now I've kind of put some time into this. Hopefully, I am not wasting my time, and hopefully, it's not like one of those situations where the one right before me gets the switch and
Yeah.
they said
That's
no.
the fun
But
part about that system is like with the tickets, they just know right away.
yeah,
But yeah, I know. And then you got yours at Best Buy, and yeah, I mean, I just think the nice thing about Best Buy too is like you're kind of guaranteed compared to Amazon. You know, like the whole week of Amazon, I was worried because it's like I haven't paid for this yet until it ships, and so like
yeah.
there's really no accountability, and so Best Buy moving forward is going to be like my place of business. It sucks that you guys don't have one in your hometown, but
I'm
maybe
hoping
you'll.
we
I
get one
think
eventually.
yeah. Although
We're
Grand Island
expanding a
isn't too
lot.
far away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
It's weird because like my drive to work is about an hour, like, and that's like a almost a daily thing. It's just it doesn't feel that long when you're living in like the bigger city because it's just like oh that's how you get across from one place to another.
Yep.
But yeah, but no, and so moving forward, I do want to give a quick shout out to Sony Gamer 201. They're in the chat and they said how's Zelda and can you use the Switch on a TV? We'll be talking about Zelda later on in the show, but as far as the Switch and using it with the TV, yes, you can. Slide the Switch into a dock unit that then connects to the TV via HDMI, which kind of leads us on to the next topic of the show with the Nintendo Switch. Is we got our Switches, we went through craziness via Amazon and Walmart to actually get our Switch units, but then we brought it home, we played it, and we finally got to know how it feels. Like how we knew how it looked, we knew the games that were going to be coming, but as far as how it actually feels. We know, and so there's the Joy-Cons, we got the Pro controllers, we've tried out TV mode, I've tried out handheld mode quite a bit. Zach, you haven't tried it as much, but then we've also used the Joy-Con straps with 1-2 switch. Some people seem to be, I don't know how, but they're having tons of difficulties with the Joy-Con straps, and some people have been breaking their Joy-Cons because they put them on wrong. It's like, guys, just slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
Put it in plus to plus, minus to minus, and when you have to slide it off, just pinch that little Joy-Con, slide it out. Like it's don't be breaking things. But no, now we actually know how it feels, and we know how it feels to dock it and undock it, and it's like everyone says. It's like everyone says, where you just plug it in and it's all of a sudden on the TV. It's pretty crazy. My TV had a brief moment where it was pretty mad at me because it's like, what are you doing? You don't have anything plugged into the TV, but now you do all of a sudden. Like my Samsung Smart TV was trying to be too smart for its own good, but I think it has a pretty good handle on what's going on now. Although, because I have one of those, those kind of bookshelves where it's a bunch of little squares. There's like square, like, and then behind like every other square, there's a back panel, and then the other ones, it's kind of artsy looking. It's a good place to store vinyl records and all that. My Switch is in there, and it's very hard to dock it because you're docking from above, but there's only so much room in there, and so I kind of have to, wiggle it in there. And at first, it was super clunky for me to get my Switch actually in there. I've kind of developed a system now where I slide the dock out a little bit enough to expose it, then dock it, then slide the dock back in, and everything's good to go. And now I'm also even more careful because I'm worried about things scratching. There's that whole ordeal. But no, it feels super good to dock it in the docking station. I leave it docked a lot, and the Joy-Cons also feel surprisingly good. And I say surprisingly just because like they're super tiny. You would think that there'd be kind of like, an awkward cringe hold. But I tried what you were suggesting today, Zach, of just playing Zelda with my arms at the side, kind of going the Koizumi, route where you just lay on the white couch and just have your arms at your side. I tried that, and it was super comfy just to hold them like classic Wiimotes. The Pro Controller, I still think, is the obvious choice. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It feels great. I was actually doing your whole method of holding the Joy-Cons at my side, and then I think I was having some grief touching the minus button for the Zelda map. because it was just kind of like I had to go over the analog stick to get to it, and so I switched back to the Pro Controller, and then it was like, oh, yep, I'm going back here again. Like I'm sticking with this for now.
Although
Um,
I get a little bit, I like that I like the difference between spacing of the plus and minus button versus the screen cap and the home button on the Joy-Cons versus the Pro Controller, because I feel they're a little
yeah,
bit close, because sometimes I'll take like an accidental
yeah.
screenshot, and I will probably get better at that in the future, but in the meantime, like at the moment, I like how it's like a more tactile raised feel up top, and
I like
it's
how in
super separate.
the Joy Cons. I like how they're actually shaped like a plus and a minus. Like
hmm
I wish on the Pro Controller they were like that because they're just actual buttons
Yeah, and
on the Pro
if
Controller.
they were raised and shaped like that, it would be a lot easier to quickly delineate. Like you would instantly know what you're feeling. So that's an interesting design choice that they went for, but and it's not a huge complaint really, because I'll probably even get used to it the more I play. But just a kind of a thought.
Yeah, no, and like along those lines, yeah, I think the I don't have my Pro Controller on me, but I mean it feels very much like an Xbox controller. I had some grief with the motion controls, but had to recalibrate it. So I've also heard some other people saying that their motion controls don't work and they think they got a faulty unit. And so be sure to. Oh my gosh, I'm watching some of the footage we have in our B-roll, and it's just it makes me want to go play Zelda right now. And no spoilers, by the way, with Zelda today. We're not going to be showing anything from the story trailer, even though that was released quite a bit ago. But just because now that everything's fresh in people's minds, we don't want to be showing that off. We're just going to be showing this demo here from, I think, E3. That's the 20 minutes of Zelda. And then I think they have some stable footage that we'll show. But anyway, back to the Pro Controller. The motion controls now I got working, which I can't wait to use the Pro Controller with something like Splatoon. Like that game's going to be very beneficial with the Pro Controller.
Yes.
Handheld mode is really awesome. I've been getting more and more used to it at first, especially going from the comfortable TV Pro Controller setup. Handheld mode was a little bit restricting because you had to kind of clench the Switch altogether to hold it and to control it. But there was a moment today where I just had a whole block of time where I was playing in handheld mode just because I wanted to go lay in bed because it was comfier, and so I did that. And the Joy-Con straps are actually like they're, unless you're playing something like Snipperclips where you have them on their side. I thought they'd be nice to have them on all the time, like even when you're just holding the Joy-Cons at your side. But I think they do make it a little bit too thick when you're just holding them like a Wiimote nunchuck setup.
Yeah.
And so I rarely put those on unless it's like an absolute necessity for either a 1-2 switch mini game um, or Snipperclips where you like need that extra girth to actually hit the shoulder buttons and stuff.
Yeah.
But no, the hardware feels great. It looks great. It's super slick. I got a screen protector on, and I actually have like a little speck of dirt or something underneath like the middle of the screen protector. So that sucks. Like, and now I can't take it off for a while.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've gotten most of the air bubbles out by using my cloth to push them out. And when the screen's on, it's impossible to notice. I have the two red Joy-Cons attached to it. I haven't really seen that much online. Most people have the mismatch or the neon. Tim Geddes from Kind of Funny has the dual blue going on, and that looks sexy too. But I have the two reds going on right now, and I think it looks good. Screen looks gorgeous. Even better than my Vita screen, which makes sense because the Vita was an HD, but the Vita was a gorgeous display. And honestly, like I was even worried because people talk about the Retina display on their iPhone and that this is only 720p. I don't know what kind of magic's going on here. Maybe it's because it's LCD screen or something, but this looks like a crisp, beautiful display. And yeah, the dock is nice. And yeah, what do you think of the hardware? Or anything I haven't said.
I think that
Oh, also shout out to Chariot Goblin in the chat. We'll talk to you in a second, but
I actually wrote some notes. Let me see what I got here.
ooh, someone did their homework.
Yeah. I think that, yeah, one of the complaints that I have definitely is the whole playtime issue. Like, I
Yeah.
want to see how long I played Zelda, and I can't figure it out. And it's like I don't want to keep manual track.
And the parental control thing I found out doesn't work because the at least from what I've seen, maybe there's another way to know. The parental control tracks how long you've played your Switch
Yeah.
for like the month or something. So it's a way to track, and it says for example, I've played, I think it said like 5 hours today of the Switch,
Mm.
and it was between Shovel Knight and Zelda, and there was no way for me to see if it was Zelda or Shovel Knight. And so I bet, because Jose Otero tweeted out that he played 70 hours of Zelda, but that's probably the only game he played. So when he checked his thing, it was probably,
hmm
able to figure that
I
out.
really
So
like that it's region free, and in case anybody doesn't know, easily make another account on your Switch and set the region to like Japan, and it will allow you to go like when you hit the eShop, it'll ask what profile you want to use. And if you have a profile that's set to a different region, you instantly access that eShop without having to switch your own region over. And so it's a way to have access to all of the eShops really easily. And so the Japanese eShop has tons more titles than are on the American
Puyo
eShop.
Puyo demo.
Yeah. And so I need to go check that out and do that whole thing. But I saw that Game Explain video about it and thought that would be a good thing to just let people know about, because it's a really cool pro tip and really a thing that's awesome about this hardware that is not common for Nintendo systems, that we have this whole region free thing. So I'm hoping that, and like, for example, Disgaea, I believe, is on that eShop and has English options. So certain games that'll be coming on the Japanese eShop, and certainly some games will probably be actually exclusive and never come to the States, that
Oh
will
yeah,
have English options. And so be sure to make that account that's set to the Japanese region, and you'll have access to the Japanese eShop anytime you want. And so that's really
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
And
Really nifty tip.
I really
And
love,
I'm gonna make that and then make my me look as if I were a Japanese person
yeah,
for that
that's
profile specifically. So like, no, I'm not gonna get into the details of how I'll make him look Japanese, but he'll look Japanese. I can assure you. I'll share a picture.
I really like the slick look. I'm hoping, I mean, I guess that like this was always kind of a complaint. Like hopefully they'll add, I guess, folders or something like that so you can manage your software a little bit easier, which I would be surprised if they never do, because it seems the 3DS had that, the Wii U had that.
Yeah, they'll get new
So
themes. They'll get new.
yeah, new themes
Chariot
are coming.
Goblin in the chat says that the Wii U and 3DS had built-in activity log, yet I hear the Switch doesn't. Very odd. Yep, you're right. It does not include an activity log in any way. It doesn't track playtime. It doesn't track, your most average playtime. Like the Wii U was kind of lacking in that way because it only had, how much you've played a game, in that month. The 3DS had an extensive
No, no,
catalog
no,
where it
no.
was
The Wii
like,
U shows overall playtime.
does it really?
Yeah. You just hold
I
on the
didn't.
game icon and it will show you like how like your overall
Oh,
playtime. So yeah, they
that would have
both
made my.
they both showed you the entire playtime of like a certain game. So it's pretty strange that it's not on here, but it's also not, I don't believe it's a feature that's like on PlayStation 4 or anything like that.
No,
So
yeah.
I would think that maybe that is what they, because it seems, honestly, this UI is very inspired by PlayStation 4. And
Yeah.
thankfully, it took them a while actually to add like folder management and stuff in the UI for the PS4, because
Well,
it's a huge
there's no
complaint.
reason for folders now. There's like not enough games for it.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you had like a folder of just all your
Yeah, that's
games.
true. I'm just thinking of along the lines, like it'd be really nice to have, because like my 3DS has the smaller icons instead of having it like super big blocks where it seems like it's just super zoomed in. It'll be nice to maybe eventually, but at the same time, it's not like a huge deal. But
Yeah, no, I mean it's
otherwise, I'm like super impressed by everything. It's all super slick. I love the screen capture mode. It's so smooth and easy because I've been using that a ton in Zelda to
oh
just
yeah, I've taken an obnoxious amount of
yeah.
pictures, and once people get more acclimated to the game, and we're not spoiling anything, I'll probably start tweeting those out with Koppai's Twitter. I've linked my Switch with Koppai's Twitter, so when I tweet out images and stuff, it'll just go straight to Koppai. So I'll start tweeting out some Zelda images in the upcoming weeks, but
My
just not
my
now.
only complaint with that is that, I mean, I'm hoping that one day, especially with all the expandable memory, they add an ability to maybe record a little bit of your gameplay, because but I was
Well, they
also
are.
I would
They said that.
oh, they did say that's coming? Okay.
Yeah, they said videos coming in a later
Okay,
update.
cool. Because
Yep.
yeah, I was thinking at the same time, I was also thinking, I think Zelda is one of their games that really highlights that aspect. But I mean, a ton of their games certainly you'd want that
Yeah.
ability. But I just think
I
that,
mean,
especially
Mario
for
Kart, you would
Zelda,
assume he's gonna have the built-in just
yeah,
like
that
replay
has it built
mode.
in, yeah, for sure, and also like Smash
Splatoon
and stuff,
may,
and yeah.
yeah,
But for Zelda especially, it just seems like there's so much you can do in that game that's unique, and like people like it's almost like the Grand Theft Auto 5 has a really popular GIF sort of scene of people trying different, make it into the little donut sign or whatever, and
yeah.
doing little tricks. And I can imagine Zelda being one of those games that once they
Oh yeah,
add something like
sliding
that,
on your shield and stuff.
yeah,
And I mean, Chariot
yeah,
Goblin in the chat says jump attacking an enemy after paragliding is so satisfying. Where you paraglide in and then
yeah.
attack someone.
hmm And
I need to get better at doing the slow mo bow and arrow
yeah,
thing. Where
well, and
you,
noting that I think that the Joy-Cons actually work a lot better. Like the Pro Controller, my Pro Controller works great for aiming. It's very smooth and very quick, but for some reason, I think just having that free hand or something and being
yeah,
able to reach out and kind of simulate pointing and aiming a little bit better, there's something about it that just makes it feel, and perhaps the technology in the free, and I know that the right Joy-Con, which I use to aim with the bow and everything, I guess that's what it's assigned to, is it just feels super natural to reach out and aim with that. And it just seems like, and it has less of the issue with the Bluetooth interference connectivity bug, so
yeah,
perhaps it has that benefit. But yeah,
yeah.
that's an interesting like pro tip. I think that if you really like that whole motion control aiming with the bow, try it out with the loose Joy-Cons because that's really awesome. Feels great.
Yeah. Yeah, and I haven't really used the Joy-Con grip much. If I am using like a full-on controller, I'm using the Pro controller or handheld mode, and if I'm doing anything else, I have the Joy-Con separated. But other than that, I
I
haven't really
tried it
used too
out
much.
simply for just for the
Science.
show, yeah, for science to get my impressions of it, and I felt that definitely it felt more cramped and smaller than the Pro controller, and so I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna go back to Pro controller because it's
Yeah,
not.
but it's not bad though. It's
No, it's not
just
bad at all.
it's
And
just
that
when you have the Pro
seems,
controller, why not use it?
yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so that's our thoughts and impressions on the actual hardware. We'll obviously have more to share in the weeks to come. Sony Gamer 201 says, "Why does the Switch not have background music in the main menu?" Probably the same thing along the lines of we don't have themes yet necessarily beyond white and black. We'll probably get different themes that maybe incorporate background music. A
Definitely.
lot of people actually seem to be liking the lack of music
Yeah, I think that's
because
what I was gonna say too, is that I mean, I was making this comment in our personal conversation the other day is that, if there's like a video game sort of Oscar or Emmy that goes to sound mixing or something like that, and there will be the video game awards, but I don't think there's a category for this, like UI, like sound mixing interface. But I
yeah,
do think
the
that
sounds are so good.
yeah, they've done a great job at like it would perhaps maybe interfere with the clicking into place of the Joy-Cons and just every single button and everything has a very smooth and thoughtful design into the sound of it. And so without any music whatsoever, it has there is sound there that's, uh, what's the word I'm thinking of? Like that's entrancing, that's like captivating and interesting.
Mesmerizing.
Yeah. And so I would also assume that probably eventually, yeah, we will get like a Super Mario Brothers theme that changed the background to bricks and little POW blocks and has the theme song playing or something like that. So
Yeah.
Zelda
All
with
right.
the Hyrule Overture. But yeah. Oh,
Yeah, no, yeah, eventually, yeah, we're going to get music and themes and all that. I'm going to try something new here as we move in. For those listening, I'm going to try to divide, hopefully, these later into snippets of sorts. So this will be the conclusion of our hardware, software review. And then we're going to move forward now into individual games. We only have so much time in the show, and so I'm going to try to do that whole Jose Otero NVC thing where he does the timer and see if we can get as many thoughts and impressions of these games as possible.
yeah.
Plus, we don't want to dwell too long on Zelda. And so I'm going to give us 5 minutes for Zelda, 5 minutes for Snipperclips, 5 minutes for 1-2 Switch, and then 5 minutes to close out. Maybe talk about Super Bomberman, Fast RMX, the indies.
Yeah. There's so
And
much.
yeah, so we'll have to get to the indies later. Indies will be pouring out for the weeks to come, and we'll get more impressions. I want to
It'll
play more
be
Super
it'll be
Bomberman.
perfect for the next episode, I think, because I believe before the next episode, yes, the ninth is when what is the game? What's it called? I'm kind of blanking on it, but is that new? It's the Blaster Master Zero, I think is what it's called, and it's like a retake on an old NES classic. It's kind of a mech shooter platformer mix that looks really awesome. And so it's kind of the first release of these
That's awesome.
indie spurs that we saw with the Direct recently, right before the launch. And so it'll be perfect to, because I'll be picking up that game, so I'll probably have some early impressions of it
Awesome.
and be able to get more in depth in the indies. So yeah,
Yeah.
Zelda though.
Sounds great.
Zelda.
Moving on, let's talk about The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. The game is getting praise from most media outlets, with critics raving that it could perhaps be the best Zelda ever and one of the greatest games ever in general. Just not that game of the year, game of the decade. It could just be one of the best games ever. It has received numerous perfect scores from places like IGN, GameSpot, etc. I actually don't know if GameSpot gave it a... Oh, yeah, they did. And many, many other places. I think the only few places that didn't give it a 10 out of 10 or 5 out of 5 or perfect score was Game Explain, Nintendo World Report, and Easy Allies are the ones that come to mind. Easy Allies gave it, I think, a 4.5. Nintendo World Report gave it, I think, maybe a 9 out of 10. And Game Explain says they liked it a lot, which on their scale is a little bit less than loved it a lot. So it's averaging about a 98 on Metacritic, just 1 point shy of Ocarina of Time, and thus placed in the overall top 5 games of all time, alongside Grand Theft Auto 4 and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. As we've said earlier in the show, we won't be getting too deep into discussion on Zelda, as we don't want to spoil it for each other, me, Zach and I, as well as the audience. And so thus we'll only be talking about the feel, look, and overall impression of the game, and limit the narrative and story discussion to the Great Plateau, and even then we'll be pretty vague to avoid hindering the experience for anyone in any way. So expect more discussion in the weeks to come. You know, we'll loosen up as we expand outside of the initial zone, maybe start talking about specific shrines, as we know for sure, like those are pretty early on shrines. The tricky part with that still, though, is Zach could have gone left from the Great Plateau and I could have gone right. Like, we don't know. And so it's tricky with a game like this, or it's just like you don't know for sure. But Zach,
Yes.
do you like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild?
No.
Oh, okay. I love it. Freak.
Yes, I love this game. It's probably up there. Like I know for sure it's gonna end up being, if not my favorite game of all time, one of my favorite games of all time. It's up there. Like I consider possibly Skyrim to be my right now reigning champion of like favorite game of all time, just because of how much time I sank into it. The whole Our Dead is Dead, like legacy, the excitement that it brought for like ESO, and love for everything else that like spanned out of that, and kind of bringing the open world and how it kind of revolutionized a lot of things about that kind of after the Grand Theft Auto formulaic sort of thing that I mean,
Yeah.
they had done it before with Morrowind and Oblivion, but it feels like with Skyrim, they really hit the mainstream and brought it to like what got them recognized again, or at least brought to the attention of way more developers to like set as a model going forward. And I think that, and along with like The Witcher, that I never really got to like finish The Witcher. So Skyrim was something I sank so much time in. In Zelda, so far, I'm getting so many feelings of that sort of experience, because one of the things I think that I
Yeah.
loved about Skyrim so much was just like this feeling of I mean, Bethesda games kind of have this reputation of being kind of stiff and everything, but for some reason I felt very much like, and maybe it was because of the help of mods too, that I was in a very much a living world, a breathing world
Mm-hmm.
that I felt at home in, that I started to feel this rhythm of my life in this world. And I feel like
Definitely.
that,
There's, I was telling my wife, there's a cycle in Zelda Breath of the Wild of like, you know, explore, hunt, gather, cook, explore, hunt, gather, shrine.
yeah,
You know, like you start to develop like, I'm going to do this the next time I go in, and I need to get this done, and it's all fun and it's all good. I'm going to I'm going to go off the path a little bit here. You know, you just develop, yeah, like you said, a life within this game, and it just feels so good. And the other thing I was going to say, I'm piggybacking off your just experience with Skyrim. One of the things it also taps into that's been hard, that I've noticed in other games is missing, like Far Cry and even Grand Theft Auto 5 to an extent, is in Skyrim there's those locations like River Run and Riften and
Yeah.
the mountain and stuff. You remember those places, but I can't say a specific location in Far Cry. I can't say a specific location in Grand Theft Auto 5, maybe beside the beach,
Mount
like
what is it? Mount
Chiliad,
Chiliad, yeah.
yeah. Like, but there's like these big locations, but like beyond that, there's not like that
Right, right.
memorable place. Like in the B-roll right now, there's the Temple of Time, and that's like you can see it from across the map, and like I want to walk there.
Well,
There's the
even
Twin
the
Peaks.
Great Plateau is like
Yeah,
you feel it's kind of reminiscent almost of like the Whiterun area and kind of that initial area in Skyrim that you really becomes iconic because you're there and you explore it fully and you kind of live there in that world and you're visiting Whiterun. You get this routine of leaving Whiterun and then going out to explore the little surrounding field area and then going back for the night, getting in your home, these kind of routines that you get set on. And along with an incredible attention to detail, I think this even takes it like beyond Skyrim or something like that into the attention to detail is incredible. It has that Nintendo like grin moment charm that you're like
yeah.
where you just like they've done it and you just start grinning
Alana Pierce summed that
stupidly.
up, where it's like where there's moments in Zelda Breath of the Wild where you're like, I wonder if this will work.
Yeah.
And then you do it and it does, and there's pure joy. Like that's what she tweeted out. And there's a moment like this isn't spoilery. There's a moment where there's like a campfire and I grabbed a stick and I'm like, I'm going to try something, and I put the stick in the fire and walked over to an apple tree and I baked the apple from like
Yeah.
underneath the tree, and I'm like, that's so cool that you can do that you can just bake an apple
I know
with
that's
like
what I'm
with a
talking
fire stick.
about taking it a step beyond like what Skyrim does with their kind of thing. And I mean like if you did like hit a wolf with a fireball, it'd be like roasted meat, inside, which they do
Yeah.
things like that, but
I
this takes
accidentally did that to like a flock of birds, and I think I got like a bunch of grilled chicken or
yeah.
something. It was
But it
just
does the
like,
same thing
that's
in
perfect.
Zelda, but it takes it to a whole another level, I think, in
Yeah.
terms of like the way things are connected, and they are just nobody does it better. I think the Nintendo and this studio, like this team that put together Zelda, just did such a great job, and it really feels like I'm in a beautifully like animated movie and like some Studio Ghibli movie or something like that. It's
Yeah,
all
it's a
awesome.
beautiful game. Visuals, I mean, I've had a few frame rate stutters. I don't know if you've had the same situation. I did turn my TV output to 720 on my
Oh, it,
Switch, and I think that may have helped a little
you did?
bit.
I haven't tried that.
Um, but yeah, I've had some frame rate stutters in grassy
I
areas
have
and
had
all of
that
that.
on TV mode, but when I did play a decent bit of Zelda in portable mode, and I didn't really notice. It did seem like it was running a lot better in the portable mode.
Yeah, I
I
think
will
just the
notice.
process of going from the Switch to the dock to the HDMI to the screen, I think part of that may hinder it.
Yeah.
And maybe honestly even being preheated up in that dock. Like I noticed the Switch gets kind of warm in there when
Right.
running Zelda. So that could be part of it as well.
Yeah.
But no, it looks gorgeous. I've taken tons of screenshots of sunsets, sunrises, and other locations that I'm excited to share one day, probably like on Instagram and all of that. But the game has, I mean, that Nintendo art style where it's just always going to be gorgeous. I've been playing lots of Horizon Zero Dawn as well, and obviously, doesn't compare to that on necessarily a visual scale. Like Horizon Zero Dawn is gorgeous,
Well,
and the
and
photo mode and that's legit. But there's still like you said, that Studio Ghibli like art style of
mhm.
just like
Well, I
you
think that
just you love it.
they took that like Wind Waker HD. I think was one of those games that a lot of people and Yoshi's Woolly World, like these titles that Nintendo and Mario Kart and 3D World, all these games that Nintendo does so well at an art style that people recognize as
Hmm.
so beautiful. And the things they did with Wind Waker, I think, like really stood out as just that art style was cartoony and making it HD and using all the different effects. They really like made it seem like you're playing sort of an animated movie or something. And I feel like they took it to the next level with this, even beyond that, because there's just so much detail and
Hmm.
so much packed in this game. It's just crazy. I was looking at your infographic that you posted on the Koppai Gaming page and kind of was thinking about how much progress I've made so far, and I've really experienced about 5% of the game so far. And
Yeah,
I've
the
been playing.
Korok puzzles. If there actually is 900 Korok seeds, Oh my
I know.
gosh.
And
How am I gonna get?
I've done several of those little puzzles, and they're really fun and really cool to find. And there's a lot of variety in them and stuff, so it's really cool. And yeah, I've experienced
And the
like
shrines are
the
amazing. The
shrines are
shrines are
awesome.
the best thing to ever happen to Zelda.
And I love
Um,
that too, that factor about, and it really helps with the portability, is there's so much content in this that really it's like if you want to, you can pick up Zelda and play a quick, like go into a shrine, into a quick puzzle, or quick
hmm
several puzzles. It's like you can do a little tiny puzzle, you can do a bigger puzzle, or you can do several puzzles, or a big, grand,
Yep.
long play session. There's so many
Yeah.
different choices to go in and how you want to
It's gonna be
play. And
it's gonna be
there's
nice for those people that are like at work or something and they have like a 30-minute lunch break and
Yeah,
they brought their
definitely.
Switch. Like run into a shrine, get it done, or run to this location real quick and do that. I've picked up a few side missions and I'm just kind of saving them because it's like
Yeah,
like I'm just gonna hold on for a rainy day to do that. But we do have to close out our Zelda discussion. We've actually gone about 5 minutes over our 5 minute discussion on Zelda.
it's Zelda.
So
It's Zelda though.
it's Zelda. It gets the bigger part of the game
Yeah,
discussion. I do want to call out Chariot Gawa in the chat. They say it's surreal that we're finally playing Breath of the Wild, a huge game that took 4 years to make. For me, Breath of the Wild is up there with Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 and Super Smash Bros. Melee. And the first few hours, there were times when I broke all my weapons and used all my arrows, but now I've done a better job of conserving. Same here. I'm doing good at kind
yeah.
of getting that rhythm and flow and learning what weapons to maybe throw at people and what ones to use and all of that.
Also,
Um,
another tip, probably thing that we should mention is that we're both kind of holding off on or we're using our fast traveling sparingly because there's
mm,
such value in exploring this world and kind of,
and we've turned off the HUD and UI,
yep,
and
we're
we're just
using
using
pro
pro
mode
mode.
and using our
Um,
Sheikah Slate if we have to look at the map because it's kind of more
yeah.
role play immersive experience.
And I think
It's just
also like
pretty.
I've seen some other people that use like that they don't have that they have the HUD up and it's like shows the time of day, shows the temperature and all that. Like I love just going up on a mountain and all of a sudden Link's like shivering and I'm like, "Oh, it's cold up here." Like I don't have a freaking thermostat in the corner of my eyeball. Like
Yeah,
no,
you have to
like
check out your Sheikah Slate if you want to see what like what it's telling you.
yeah.
You can't just
Yeah,
have
and
it like
so
always in your peripheral vision.
yeah, and it's made it as you said like just and no fast traveling as well unless it's like all right, I'm at the tower. I'm gonna fast travel to the top of the tower. Like I
Yeah.
only got so much time in the day. But even doing that, like there's so many moments where I discover something new and exciting or a side quest. Like side quests are riddled throughout this place. Like don't forget to talk to people when
Yeah.
they're walking by.
Yep. And one
And
thing,
so
one final closing thought
oh
for me is that there's so many things. I went for a like they had the DLC expansion pass, and so there's a whole bunch of little hidden treasure chests, and I
yeah
could not find the Nintendo Switch shirt. I seriously spent about an hour and a half searching the entire Great Plateau from like everything from the lake up north to the forest and everything. I was just in the walls, the steep cliffs. I'm like looking over them, over the edges, like where is this chest? And
yeah.
finally found it after you gave me a little hint. But what was so cool about it, I thought, was just I spent almost 2 hours on a quest that really isn't even part of the game.
I've
It
done the
was
same thing.
just my own personal mission.
Yeah, I did a whole quest on. There was a horse I wanted. It was all black, and I wanted that horse. It looked so freaking majestic, um, and I wanted it. But every time I tried to soothe him, he would buck me off, and I didn't have enough stamina to soothe him throughout his entire taming process. And so I had to like cook up some stamina mushrooms to get stamina to eat while I'm soothing him.
Mm.
And then I had to go and use stealth to get him. And I had to actually go up on a hillside and slide down because he kept running away from me. And so I had to use that. Like it was this whole process just to get this one black horse I wanted when I could have got some, pansy blue one. But I wanted the black one that was wild and, I knew it was fast and the stable said it was the best horse ever in the world. They're like, this one's better than Epona. Like, you're the true hero of time. And I'm like, yes, I am. They didn't say that. It's not spoilers, but no. To close out, Chariot Goblin did say they've been cooking a lot. That a fun fact is the developers of Xenoblade helped with Breath of the Wild. I'm not surprised. And the shrines remind them of Mario Galaxy. Sony Gamer 201 says when's the next update. I don't know if he's referring to the update of the Switch or of Zelda. We don't know. There is an update coming to Fast RMX. That's the first update we've heard of. But no, that concludes the Zelda discussion. It's the best Zelda game arguably ever. If not the best ever, it's rivaling the best Zeldas ever, and whatever is your favorite Zelda, it's probably rivaling it. You should definitely pick it up if you have a Wii U or a Switch. They're basically the exact same version, with pros and cons to each one. Switch or Wii U sometimes has better frame rates and loading times, but the Switch can be taken on the go, so you do with that as you will. You see what your priorities are.
I thought that the Switch had way better loading times. Wii U
Switch loads up the game faster. The Wii U loads up shrines faster. So it's weird things like that. Like, we don't know what the optimization is and all of that. Thank you, Game Explain, for the B-roll there. I just stole that from Game Explain's channel. So, but no, that concludes the Zelda discussion, and we went 15 minutes on that. We're supposed to go 5 minutes. Please subscribe if you enjoyed the Zelda talk. Moving on, let's talk about Snipperclips very briefly.
Okay.
Just a few minutes. I've only done the first world and a half.
I've done the first world. I haven't done the whole retro anything of that yet.
Yeah, retro robot.
Yeah.
Oh wait, let's get some Snipperclips B-roll here. I actually don't know if I have Snipperclips B-roll. Oh no. Let's just do first look at NX. Maybe I can download some of that real quick or something. Zach, you talk while I figure that out.
Snipperclips is an awesome game. Kayla and I have been playing it together, and really, it's been testing our teamwork abilities. Like, there's so many moments where it's I'll think that she'll think that I'm reading her mind and know what she wants me to do, and I'll think she knows. It's like it really teaches you how to work together and figure out these puzzles, because some of them are genuinely super challenging and hard to figure out, and you gotta really think about it. And it's really cool, especially for example, the one where there's those eggs that you have to get into their little nest and they'll hatch, and it kind of ramps up the challenge. And so you have to cut certain shapes out of each other that will work, and then you guys both have to kind of rotate together and do this whole, it's super teamwork level, and it's just really awesome and fun and cute game. It feels like it reminds me of Easter, and feels like one of those games that would be perfect around that time for some reason. But it's just it makes me hungry for candy and stuff. It's so sweet and delicious and cute, and I don't know, I just love this game. I even tried the one player mode just to see
that's actually pretty fun.
Yeah. And it works surprisingly well. So if you don't have any friends to play with and you want to go check it out, there's a demo on the eShop, and so you can check out Snipperclips. I'm having a blast with it. Caleb,
it's a fun game.
Yeah.
Chariot Goblin's out. He's like, I'm gonna go play more Zelda. Bye. No, Snipperclips though. I mean, people have been asking in different various forums. There's the whole joke out there right now, I got 2 to 3 reasons to play the Switch all year, and I'm like, I got 5 today. People are like, what are some of your reasons? I'm like, Snipperclips, and they're like, is that actually good? And Snipperclips is actually good, which I actually don't know why people still need convincing. I thought a lot of ambassadors did a pretty good job at embracing this game early on. But no, as you mentioned, I'm very surprised how easy it is to play by yourself. Just switching back and forth. Oftentimes you don't really need 2 people to go through the puzzles. And sometimes it can be really fun and kind of satisfying just to chill and play a couple levels by yourself. Same as you, I've been playing with my wife. She loves just running around and exploring the map, even though the map is literally only one screen. And she loves jumping around and trying to see how many different facial expressions the little Snipperclip person can do. And I'm like, can we just solve the puzzle? And I get a little frustrated because I'm like, yo, let's just keep moving forward. But she gets frustrated because I'm like, because she wants to just have fun. But I'm like, this is a game. It's not time for fun. This is Snipperclips. We need to make progress. I got to platinum this game. But there's no trophies. It's hard. But no, I mean, it pushes your sometimes it's how do you do this puzzle? And, how are you supposed to, it just takes some thinking. And I kind of want to go ahead and look and see how many worlds there are if that information is even out there, because I'm trying to figure out how much I should pace myself, because part of me wants to just keep playing and keep enjoying it and go as much as I can. And the other part of me is worried that it's only a few levels, because it is only $20, and
Yeah.
they're not a small time developer, but I think it's like that studio's first game, and so
Yeah.
I'm a little bit worried about that. Sorry we don't have any B-roll, but I did pull up this nice Snipperclips image here. Super adorable style. And then, it makes good use. I mean, this is another prime example of how the Switch launch games, each one show off exactly why the Switch is awesome. Zelda shows, okay, this is a console game. This is a console that you can take on the go and still experience console gaming. 1-2 Switch shows off how the HD Rumble works. Fast RMX shows off how, just intense, fun arcadey games work, and Super Bomberman does the same thing, and the online functionality shows how awesome that's going to be, and Snipperclips perfectly shows how the controllers can split into two and be used awesome, and I think they're pretty comfy. Like, with a game like Snipperclips, it's not too bad. I actually want to try Shovel Knight that way, because you can do that the same way.
Yeah, the Joy-Cons on either side are surprisingly comfy, because that was a thing
with the strip on, or the strap.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just talking about how the off-play sort of analog, because I think that was a concern for both of us about like how that was going to work, because one of them is a little bit over to the right more than, kind of traditionally you're used to on a controller. That like
it's not bad at all,
and it's really comfortable. It's like super surprisingly awesome. So
yeah, the strap makes all the difference in the world, though, for doing it on its side like that. And as we've said earlier in the show, plus on plus, minus on minus. And when you want to take it off, unlock it, pinch the bottom part where there's no button, so you don't like hit your triggers and all that, and then just pinch it off. It's not too hard. If you're struggling, you're doing it wrong, and you're probably gonna break something. But no, I think that's everything I have to say about Snipperclips. We'll talk about that more as we get more impressions on the puzzles and all of that. But definitely a game to check out. If you have $20, go ahead and spend on the eShop. And another eShop pro tip: you have to enter in your debit card or credit card every time you buy something, which gets really annoying when you're buying like a bunch of games, and especially when Virtual Console comes out and you decide to buy the entire Mario catalog. If you go online or find anywhere just an eShop card, and you enter in and redeem that eShop card code, it'll add all the funds to your wallet, and then you can just buy as much as you want without having to re-enter all your information.
And good point about that too is that if you're doing the whole profile thing for the Japanese eShop, like you don't have yen, and most credit cards don't work for the Japanese eShop because there's a whole international issue. And so if you do the digital codes to add your funds to your account, you easily have those funds already in it, and Nintendo will automatically do that translating for you. And so do it that way, and you can get all those eShop titles from
currency conversion.
Yes.
Yeah, and so definitely check out Snipperclips, and be sure to use that pro tip. I'm probably going to be adding in funds to my wallet like every once in a while, just even if I'm not necessarily buying a game. Maybe just throw in $10 or $20 every time I have some extra money.
Remember to grab a screen protector, because for this episode I wanted to bring over the Switch to this kind of area where we record the show and set it up with a kickstand, and I was checking it out, leaving it out of the dock. I'm seeing a couple scruff marks.
Are you really?
Yeah, and I don't know if I'll have to take my cleaning cloth to it and see, if I can kind of work those out and see if they're actually permanent scruffs. But I do have my screen protector on, so hopefully, everything's probably fine.
I don't see any scruffs on mine yet, but
there's a couple little marks, and I'll have to see what's up. But yeah, just be cautious.
This is Blunty, and my screen's been scratched.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Now that concludes our Snipperclips discussion. Be sure to like and subscribe and check out that game if you enjoyed it. Moving on, Zach, do you want to talk about 1-2 Switch, or do you want to save that for this upcoming Friday, where maybe we can give more 1-2 Switch, Super Bomberman R, Fast Remix, and Shovel Knight impressions? Do you want to do that in the next show, or do you want to go ahead and maybe bust out some 1-2 Switch impressions? I mean, we can maybe even go through our favorite mini games next week of 1-2 Switch and get really into them, and maybe this week just simply say that game's a hoot.
Yeah,
it's totally worth it.
I think that's how we should handle it. I think that 1-2 Switch is a really awesome game. I don't know why some people are dissing on it. Some people are writing reviews like kind of shout out to uh or On Blast, Game Informer. They gave it like a 4
Yeah.
out of 10, and they were saying some things that just really aren't true about it because they were making some points about how so many, like every mini game is a React game, like the quick draw, which just really
Yeah.
isn't true because there's so many little tech demos that actually go way beyond that. For instance, like the rotation is totally different than a React because you actually are using I'm not even sure how it exactly works, but you rotate it as much as you can while keeping the Joy-Con still, and it tracks like how far you do, and it's really sensitive and really fun to like compete with
The
somebody.
safe
And
crack is hard, and the ball
yep,
count, like those aren't
there's
reaction.
so
Zen is completely
yeah,
anti-reaction.
there's a lot of
Um,
variety in the games, and I think that it's just a blast, especially if you have fun people in your life and
yeah, it's a
friends. And,
great party
yep,
game, and you don't need to take your whole docking station to go play it. Like if you want to go show it off to a friend, like you took it to our dad's, and he played it, and it's gonna be an awesome thing. We'll talk about our favorite mini games with that. So far, my favorite mini game is probably Quick Draw, or
yeah,
the boxing one is really fun.
yeah.
And so yeah, I've been playing that with my wife. We played it actually quite a bit, and we played it with one of our non-gaming friends. And I tweeted out some stuff on Koppai Gaming's Twitter that you can check out. And yeah, we dabbled with Bomberman and Fast RMX, but we didn't get too much of a chance to play those. And then I've also been playing with Shovel Knight today, and I can honestly say that the D-pad on the handheld mode, so like the weird button D-pad for a classic platformer like Shovel Knight, does work pretty well. I didn't
Yep.
really care. I mean, with a game
I
like that, you're usually going forward, so it doesn't really
That's true.
matter.
Yeah.
Like,
Usually going to the right. But
yeah,
I was
so
thinking for that, I definitely think that in terms of that game, the D-pad slash like disjointed D-pad on the Joy-Cons worked really well. I didn't really notice any issues from me, but I will have to definitely see, I guess, once they start releasing like Super Mario World or something like that, how an
yeah,
old SNES sort of classic games work in
where
that
you have
sort
to
of
kind of like
environment.
run and pull your body
Yeah,
back and
yeah.
jump, and
So
so
we'll have to see,
um,
but I'm figuring that it probably won't be a huge issue, at least for me, who's somebody who's
yeah,
maybe not. I could see the big issue for that is probably going to be those who play like Street Fighter and games like that, where you really kind of
yeah.
do those combos of diagonal and that. That's
Yeah, it'll be hard, but even then, like I think it's pretty good, and we'll have more Nindies impressions, and impressions on other launch games next week. We just had to talk about the hardware and Zelda this week, but that'll be actually be on Friday. We'll get back to our normal schedule. Sorry we weren't live this past Friday, but you can understand that we were actually getting our Switches and playing. None of you would have tuned in anyway. Because you would have been playing your Switches yourselves. And so we'll be back on our normal schedule of this Friday live at 11 a.m. Or Central Time. Once again, we're experimenting with times that we can go live. And so if that time doesn't work well for you, let us know. And we'll try to figure it out. Even if you don't watch live and you want to watch live, be sure to, like, your voice is still just as valid as people that watch live right now. So be sure to do that. Also, be sure to check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as Koppai Gaming, as well as SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, and other podcast services as Koppai Podcast. Just one moment here. What are we doing here? Well, let's just do some fast RMX footage there. We have all this stuff there at the bottom banner that you guys can check out. And to do that, click the subscribe button at the bottom. Be sure to click the like button so we get pushed to the front of YouTube's pages so people know that we're a Nintendo podcast. And if you guys enjoyed the show, be sure to tune back again. We are an all Nintendo podcast that posts each and every week. Also, real quick shout out to the Splatoon mystery files. You guys seem to really like the first episode, so I'll definitely be doing more of those. They take a little bit of time to produce because I like to do the full-on animation that kind of coincides with what I'm talking about with the mystery files and the Sunken Scrolls of Splatoon, but I'm hoping to have those consistently rolling up as we lead up to a summer release of Splatoon 2, and so by the time that game comes out, we have a full catalog of the mystery files and lore and all of that. I'd like to do them more on a weekly basis. It looks like right now they're going to be kind of like week and a half-ish, and I'd also like to maybe add in some weapon analysis videos in the midst of that, so we can maybe start pushing towards more daily or every other day content here on Koppai Gaming. And so that'll be coming. Sony Gamer 201 says, how do you get the Switch? Check your local retailer, check online, check nowinstock.com. You can maybe find a Switch that way. They're tricky to find, but they're not impossible to find right now. They're just in high demand.
Cats
And
has one.
so I have one. I have an extra one. Oh wait, what is this? There we go. I have one. Yeah, I have an extra one. Probably gonna try to sell it locally.
And
Just to
announcing the Koppai NX giveaway.
no. Probably gonna try to sell it locally for pretty cheap, just because I want maybe someone to have it. I was saving it for a couple friends actually to see if they wanted it. And so I'm trying to figure out like the best moral ground. Like I don't want to scalp it. I'm not gonna try to get like 600 for this.
Yeah.
But it also does kind of like get the convenience charge in there, and I don't know. So I may just see if I can return it to Amazon, but if anything, probably just sell it locally or something like that. And so, but yeah, I mean,
I would think
reach out if
retailers would confidently be taking these back just because of the high demand for them. So they would at least know we're going to at least instantly turn this back around. So,
yeah. And so I'll have to contact Amazon about how to get that return and refund all scheduled out. But yeah, be sure to be on the lookout for a Switch. It's definitely a console to get. It has our glowing recommendation. I mean, I don't know about exact review number. I think reviewing hardware is kind of weird because it's like hard not to review the hardware with the software in mind. Zelda's a 10 out of 10. 1-2 Switch is a amazing game. Snipperclips is an amazing game. It's a great launch. I think I'm satisfied. I have more games to play on it than I can even handle right now. And the Splatoon test fires in just a couple weeks. Like we're gonna have that like the whole weekend to play Splatoon in a couple weeks. Mario Kart 8's next month. And the indies are gonna be pouring out on a weekly basis from now until the end of the year. And then we have Mario, Fire Emblem's coming.
And E3 is coming up.
Yeah, and they've announced games that come out later that year at E3 before. Like they've Pokemon Sun and Moon got announced months in advance, and
they'll do crazy stuff like, I don't know, it was towards the end of last year, I forget what game it was exactly, but Kimishima will say, like there's still games coming out that we haven't announced. It's like, what? There's 1 month left of the year.
Yeah, and they do something where it's just like, by the way, a port of Yoshi's Woolly World is coming, and it's gonna be out in a few weeks. It's like, oh, okay. And yeah, I mean, imagine Smash is coming eventually. Like it is. There's no way it's not. Pokemon's eventually coming in some capacity. It's crazy. They're coming, and so the Switch is definitely hype. We recommend it. Yeah, we're Nintendo fans, but we do criticize Nintendo from time to time, and we can honestly say that the Switch is definitely worth the investment now and later and throughout the year. So if you can get one, and if you have the money to get one, go ahead and get it and pick up. Honestly, I want to get Imaginators too. Imaginators is something that's piqued my interest in. I would really love to get into to maybe have a 3D platformer right now, but no, pick up. I mean, the only game I can maybe say avoid is Just Dance because I hear it's kind of just silly and not the best game. Like you just kind of dance around, and I'd rather just play 1-2 Switch because there's a dance mode in that. But other than that, I think every launch game is pretty solid. So. Go ahead and pick that up. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe and rate us on iTunes and all that. And until next time,
Oh. That's all, folks.
That's the end of the show.
Yeah. I have the freaking Nintendo NX sitting in front of me right now, looking me in the eyes.
And I can tap it. And oh wait, here let's get the volume up on this thing.
Huh?
Just like that, it's unlocked. And I can click this, and I can click that.
Yep, I conveniently slid my Joy-Cons back in there so I can just kick up the kickstand and place it right back in my dock. Gotta make sure I put that kickstand in before I put it in the dock, or else it's gonna go flying into the air.
And just like that, loaded up Zelda. It's giving me a little tip as it loads.
Oh, yeah, it's so quick loading up into the game. It's
one thing I hate about Zelda, my biggest gripe right now, and it's the funniest thing to be griped against, My biggest gripe is when the game rains. There's no like waiting function or something. And I haven't tested it out, but I'm
No
wondering,
waiting. Well,
cause,
if you go and sit next to a campfire or something.
but what if I don't have a campfire nearby? And I know I can put down wood and flint
Yeah.
and make a fire, but does that work in the rain?
Well, I haven't tried it in the rain because I assume probably not. It seems like a lot of the
That's the thing,
fires
is
go out.
that's the time I want to wait.
Well, then go to like a place like an inn or something.
But that's the whole point, is I'm climbing some sort of mountain.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Breaking news, Colin Moriarty tweeted out 1 minute ago, early Zelda impressions. It's refreshing to see Nintendo learn from Western development and put their own spin on it. Very intrigued so far.
Yeah. Yeah, it is incredible.
I'm hoping, I mean, I love Colin. I'm hoping he comes around, because like his tweet earlier today, where is it?
Well, I'm surprised kind of that, I mean, his argument, there's only 3 reasons to pick it up a year. It just seems like, I mean, you're such a huge advocate for Vita and the Vita Island,
Yeah.
and it seems like we're having almost the exact same situation, only a little more, like way more support on the Switch, but the same sort of like indie scene as well. It's like there's so much coming out to it that it's either the exact same as the Vita or better. And so
Yeah.
you can't have these, that's kind of like this cognitive dissonance of believing that the Vita is some amazing system, but the Switch only has 2 to 3 reasons to pick it up a year. It's like it doesn't really compute with me because we have so many indie titles that look absolutely incredible coming, and that's kind of what the case was with the Vita, and like Japanese RPGs and tons of things coming. So I'm super excited. I love indie titles, and it seems like Colin, somebody who loves like Mega Man and loves the classic games like we grew up on, and that's kind of why
I
we're
mean,
like,
he loves Shovel Knight, and Spectre of Torment comes out today or yesterday exclusively for the Switch, or like exclusive timed window for the Switch. Like you get it first on the
yeah,
Switch, and it's just like that's already a reason right there. And
yeah,
and so yeah, but no, I'm excited to see how he thinks, like what he thinks of Zelda. That it's just like,
definitely.
maybe he'll come around on it just because I mean I love the Switch. I want to be hyped by everyone. But
Yeah.
no, I'm gonna go have some chicken wrapped in bacon. That's what I have for dinner. And then I'm going to play Zelda until I fall asleep. And then my spring break starts tomorrow, so I'm going to wake up and play Zelda until I fall asleep.
That's awesome. Yep, I got some homework and just gonna alternate between that and Zelda again, like I have been doing all day.
It's a perfect game just to pick up and do something and then set it down. And so I'm at a shrine right now. I just checked. I saved right outside a shrine, and I'm going to go in and see what's up.
Yeah, it's awesome how I can go in there and be like, I'm gonna play for a little chunk, and usually I'll be like, I should probably play for about a half hour, but it's Zelda, so who knows, like if I'll be able to put it
You
down.
need the parental controls to time yourself.
But I mean, what the point is that I always say that, and then there's always like it's really nice that I get to a point and I'm like, this is a good stopping point here. It usually doesn't take me too long to like get something done where I'm like, okay, I feel satisfied that I did something and made a little bit of progress. So cool.
And it auto saves quite frequently that if you die or do
awesome.
something.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Especially
compared to other Zeldas, like it always sucked when it was like I'm gonna go into this dungeon. Like I mean, dungeons were awesome. Like I'm not dissing on other Zeldas, but like one of the complaints sometimes was like, especially with Twilight Princess, it's like, man, I'm going to this dungeon. I'm gonna be trapped in this place for like days. You know, like this is the next 10 hours of my gameplay experience is this single desert dungeon. And a continuous loop of using this one hookshot item throughout the whole dungeon. And that's the crazy thing about the shrines is like outside the Great Plateau, like you have everything you need now for everything,
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, oh, in this one specific shrine, I mean, maybe it'll change and I don't know if but it's just like, I think you have pretty much those, magnet, ice rod sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, what is it? The Cairo something or whatever, the Han Solo freezing machine.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's awesome. Can't wait to play more Zelda. Chariot Goblin just abandoned us to go play more Zelda. Osan Bro is probably just out there playing Zelda.
Yep.
This is how the Koppai Nation falls. Click subscribe. We'll be back next week.
Smash that like button.
Let's get 1 million dislikes. Don't do that. Don't hit the dislike button, please. That works for PewDiePie, not for us. We need all the likes we can get. We're almost at 200 subscribers though.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
All right, bye.
All right, Koppai, bye.
Go bye.
Bye.